So, you want to introduce yourselves first?
So I'm Caleb. This is Melanie.
No, you're supposed to introduce yourself, not me.
Whatever, I'm Caleb.
And you should say a little bit about yourself, how old you are, where you live, what you like to do for the fun of it.
Well, we live on Bow Lane.
It's like, sorry, I'm like blanking right now.
It's off a busy road.
It's in Shiloh.
But yeah, you live in New York State, upstate. Yeah. So that's probably good enough
The
for.
rest of the world calls it chili, but it's pronounced chili, even though it's spelled exactly like chili, and it's even named after. There's a fruit named chili, and it's spelled the same way. So you know.
That's awesome.
Sense.
Chili. And who's the one in the back?
Daniel.
Daniel. So Daniel, tell us a little bit. Oh, you're hiding.
What did you say? I couldn't hear
He told you to tell him about yourself.
Yeah, how old are you?
8.
8. And Melanie, let's see, you must be what, about 14?
13.
13. I was close. Within a year, I get points, I think. Maybe.
Well, I'm
13 this year, so.
But you didn't use those points for.
14.
You said 13.
I'm not sure. But I'm hoping there's a goodie bag in it. So anyway. So I guess first off, my plan is to interview different people every single day to the end of 2024, because in 2024, NASA plans to land people on the moon. And so first off, did y'all know about that?
Yes.
Well, yeah, from 5 minutes ago when my mom told you that. When my mom told us that.
But did you know about it before, Melanie? No. So, most of the people I talk to haven't heard about it. And I'm wondering what NASA should be doing differently to get the word out. Any ideas?
Advertising.
Well, it is 4 years away.
Yes.
And they should be advertising.
Well, that's an interesting point about advertising. I think about the last ad you saw. What was the last ad you saw?
I can't.
It was
remember.
one about Liberty Mutual.
Liberty Mutual. Maybe they should team up with Liberty Mutual. And we're going to the moon in 2024. Get Liberty Mutual insurance, and then that'll work.
I know, but it's 4 years away. Probably maybe 1 year, 2 years. They'll start advertising.
Well, do y'all know the last time we had people on the moon? Like 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 50 years ago?
Don't know exactly, but yeah. And we watched the moon landing, and I heard, and they're sending they sent a rover to Mars, right?
Uh-huh.
And they sent New Horizons.
That's true, yeah, out there to Pluto and beyond. And they're launching another rover to Mars this year that's actually going to have a little helicopter on it, which will fly around.
You're going to work in space.
Well, no, when it's on Mars, Mars has an atmosphere, so it can.
It will be on a planet called Mars.
Yeah, and
Well,
they have air there.
Well, it has gas.
Well, it doesn't have oxygen, but they have air.
Yeah, sometimes the audio is really good, but then sometimes it's really bad. I don't know if there's the mic is in a good position or something.
Your mic?
Your mic. I mean, I could barely hear you.
Well, technically, it's as far away as the camera, so.
Oh. Okay. Well, what do you think about us going back to the moon? And first of all, the last time I went to the moon was 1972. Does that surprise you?
The last time who went to the moon?
Anyone on Earth.
That does. Well, yeah, 1 year ago.
1972 was 48 years ago.
You thought you said 2019.
Probably.
Do y'all know anybody that's older than 48 years?
Yes.
How many people do you know that's older than 48 years?
3. Actually, 4.
4 people? And how many people do you know that are less than 48 years?
A lot.
Yeah.
A lot.
We don't know the number of that.
Yeah, like maybe 1,000.
Probably not.
Probably not. So what do you think about it? Are y'all excited to hear that we're going back, or like how does it rank in your world?
Yeah. You know, once it was about space. We did the Lego League competition, and we did this whole project about sending chickens in the rover to
Not
Mars.
the rover.
Yeah, like a spaceship to like a colony to Mars. Like,
Really? Tell me more about this.
No.
You were doing it. You were
Well,
too
you
young.
did it. You
Shush,
did it. That was
shush.
just why you did
I-
it to
shush,
help with the
shush,
NASA
you weren't there.
stuff.
And so we did.
I
And so we
actually like it.
so we did a project for that, and so we it's like going back to what we did to see how it is now. You know, up close.
Basically, well, it was talking about sending chickens to space so they could help the astronauts.
Yeah, it was more. We had all the science worked out, and like we picked a certain kind of chicken for a certain reason.
Hello, Luke.
And y'all y'all would have launched the chicken to like the International Space Station or to Mars, or like where's the chicken going?
Colony to Mars, like
On the colony to Mars.
we would take a bunch. You would take a bunch of breeding chickens and like bring them there.
Oh, I will. And kill them? Or take their eggs?
Kill them. When you got to Mars, you would use them as food, like you know.
Now, would the chickens have like their own like air supply and be self-contained, or would they share it with the astronauts?
They would filter the air out because of certain bacteria, but like the astronauts would be able to handle them, you know, because handling animals like you know like helps keep them, you know. Like,
They have so much time on their hands, they self-pollinate plants.
that
Wow.
doesn't take on Caleb.
Yeah, you know, I think if we were sending chickens to the moon, that would get a lot of attention.
You also did.
See, there was all these stuff like the chickens would be in this like container with like the dirt, like and like each layer, and like each layer had a different reason, and there would be all these sorts of things. We had it all worked out. I don't remember every detail off the top of my head, but I know the general idea. And we were gonna send silkies, and the astronauts were gonna be able to handle them, you know, to keep their immune systems, because chickens have like germs and things on them, you know, because the astronauts would be going there in a sanitary environment, so they'd need some interaction, or they might get sick if anyone came back to Earth, you know, like if they did. Of
But
course,
also
they were.
give them something else to do.
Well, yeah, that was the point. It was you're handling animals, you're interacting, you know.
You kind of help them emotionally too.
So wait, sorry, what were you saying?
Oh, it would help them emotionally also, having to take care of animals and.
But you don't want them to get too attached, because then they might not slaughter them.
They're not slaughtering them, Caleb.
It's the same as taking their bones
Since
out
they're breeding, they do they use them as food as well, because you know
the photo bomb.
he's locked out.
Do not no locking the doors in this house.
That's not true. Anyway,
So in 2024, whenever they're first landing on the moon and about to step out, where will y'all be in your life? I think you'll be starting college probably.
me?
Because that'd be like 4 years from now. Maybe last year of high school. Maybe last year of high school.
Maybe.
And then
Sure.
where will y'all be in 4 years from now?
Yes, which is why you should have your favorite animal ears.
It's fun having lots of siblings. Okay, if it was cheap and affordable, cheap and affordable is the same thing. If it was affordable and safe, would y'all go into space?
No.
No, why not?
We have a giant garden that way.
That's not a reason why we wouldn't go into space.
And it's like huge. And
I just personally don't like. I don't think they can. like right then, like our technology's at a point, so I don't think it would be truly safe right then. I think they'd be making it safer at that point.
But let's say 1 million people successfully went into orbit, stayed there for a few days, and came down. Would that be safe enough?
Sure.
What was that one rocket ship's name that like exploded and the one before it didn't? I don't
The
remember the exact name, but I know that happened.
Rockets
Well,
are
so
Yeah.
in terms of astronauts that have died going to space in the U.S., we had like Apollo 1 during a test. There was a fire in the cabin. It killed 3 astronauts. Then we had the Challenger explosion, like 1986, killed 7 astronauts after taking off. And then I think it was 2003. We had the Columbia that had some damage when it took off, and then like when it came back in for landing, it broke apart during landing. But so I mean,
I guess it really depends on what kind of like if I'm like what I'm doing at that point in my life.
yeah. Do you think you're more likely to do it if you're older or younger?
Probably younger.
Okay. I've heard, there's like the trade-off is younger, maybe you're more adventurous, but then the younger, you're also thinking, wow, I have more of my life ahead of me, so I shouldn't do like risky things. Whereas if
Well,
you're older,
at my age, it was just more reckless when I was younger because I'm just 13. So oh, that reminds me. There was this one quiz I did that it asked me if I would like to go back to when I was 13. And it's like I am 13.
yeah, you are 13.
That's nothing whatsoever.
I will go back to when I am 13.
When I was.
Okay, so hypothetical question.
When I was 13.
So 500 years ago, what was the world like? I mean, we know there was no internet, so like this call would have been impossible.
There was no internet when my mom was in college, so.
There's that. Also, there was no electricity. Everybody had to like either live with the dark or have candles or lamps. There's no airplanes. Starvation was a common phenomenon. What are some other things? Like, how was the world different 500 years ago?
Wasn't that kind of around the time of the potato famine?
Oh, the Irish potato famine. Yes. And then they came over here. I think so. Yeah. And
Apparently they thought like the streets were diamonds in New
Well,
York and stuff.
it's like a common consumption that like whenever you're migrating, people make up stories about how the streets are gold or covered in diamonds or stuff.
well, that's the people trying to convince other people to come along. And then once they get there, then they're like, well, you're already here, so it doesn't matter. But
Potato famine, it's much better regardless if there's the streets are paved with diamonds.
No. Well, by the time they get there, they aren't going back to like get a successful job because they're like poor.
yeah, they're stuck.
Not because the landlord was still making them pay.
It was the Duke then.
Okay, now if you think about the change, also the world's population was probably 500 million, 100 million, something like that. Now it's like 6 or 7 billion. I don't know. But 500 years from now, what do you think humanity is going to look like?
I don't know. We can't comprehend what it might be like, what it might not be like, if it will even get that.
I mean, like, there is a limit to how far technology can go.
There will be at some point.
We can't go infinitely. You can't make a wire infinitely small.
Right.
There is a size that it has to be to carry current and that stuff. So like, I don't know where that point will be. It might be in 200 years, 300 years, 400 years.
But you'll think we'll reach a limit at some point.
Yes, definitely.
But
like you can only make something as small as the basic particles.
But I guess if you're looking out 500 years and you could kind of influence the direction that we were going, what would you want it to look like?
I want it to look like a place where nobody's starving and stuff.
Nobody's starving? Okay, I like it. What else?
But the one thing I would hate to see in the future is a mind reader at all. I
A
think
mind reader?
yeah, I think that's just an
But what if you also had like a way to block your mind from being read? Like, I mean, sometimes you experience something and you just can't describe it in words. And if you could put on a hat and let somebody else like see what it was like, but they couldn't do it without your permission. I mean, wouldn't that be kind of cool or no?
I
A
mean,
good
like, I
mind
just
reader,
don't
man.
want it invented. No matter how much good or bad it would cause, I just don't want it.
No mind reader. You want your thoughts inside your head to be sacred and protected.
Yeah.
Okay, so nobody starves and nobody can read minds. Got
Yeah,
it.
but there are a bunch of, if that was invented, it might prove it, like, like, you don't know if anybody else is actually real because you don't know if they're actually thinking or not.
Yeah, maybe we're stuck in some VR game, and are we the players or are we like the part of the game? Okay. So a more basic question: in 500 years, is humanity only on the Earth, or have we branched out to other places in the solar system?
We might go to the
I
moon.
don't know. We might.
We might go beyond the moon. We might go to Mars. We might even be on Pluto by then.
But
Yeah. The
might,
moons of Jupiter, the moons of Saturn.
something might go wrong in 100 years. Something global, like a giant meteor. Or
Like,
something.
Earth might not even exist, and we'd be on all these other planets and not on Earth because there was a meteor thing,
Wow, that would be interesting. Oh, have you all heard of Elon Musk?
Yes.
No.
What do you know about him?
Well, you just mentioned him, so now I know about him. But
You know his name. You know his name. But other than that, what do you know about him?
nothing.
Really? Tesla, the electric car company, maybe? He's like the founder of that. But he's also has a rocket
I
company.
don't think we're old enough for cars yet, so I don't think we know about stuff like that.
Oh, okay. But he's also has a rocket company that's developing a fully reusable rocket that will be able to lift 100 tons into orbit. That will be like the cheapest launch ever created. And he wants to build a city on Mars, and it looks like he'll be able to do it to like protect, to make sure that humanity goes on in the case that you're talking about. And I was wondering what you thought about that. Is that like a good thing, bad thing, exciting?
I mean, I'm wondering, but what happens if something doesn't happen directly to us? But what happens if our sun gets destroyed?
Our sun gets destroyed.
Started to destroy the whole universe.
Well,
No. No.
I'm kidding. It'll destroy
No, I
the
mean,
whole.
like-
It'll destroy the whole galaxy.
if the sun, no.
Yeah. If it
Many
goes, if it-
stars are getting destroyed around us.
yeah, but that's called a supernova, and it implodes.
No, I mean, if
If it implodes, it would go like
it doesn't work
this.
that
It wouldn't
way.
go like.
because I mean,
boom.
like, if
Yeah,
something
it goes
happened to the
boom.
sun
It goes
that just
No,
like
it goes
turned it
boom.
off, got
It
rid of
goes
it, all of its gravity, everything, our solar system would just go
No
flying
making noise
apart
off
because
camera.
there would be nothing to hold it together. And what happens if Earth or whatever planet we're living on collides with another planet? What would happen then?
Bad stuff like Pluto.
That would be really bad, I think.
Like, oh,
But that seems like another good reason to start figuring out how to travel between the stars. I mean, once we're able to make it to one other star system, then essentially, you start seeing this propagation of humanity and consciousness and civilization throughout the universe. I personally think that's an exciting thing. But
Maybe Star Wars should be a long time ago in this galaxy.
Well, technically, they do travel between like maybe one or two. They might travel between galaxies. We don't know for sure.
yeah, lots of space. Oh, have you all heard of Jeff Bezos?
No.
How about Amazon?
Yeah.
You mean the company, right?
The company Amazon, not the river in Brazil.
Has a thing where she can
membership
She's an
Yes.
Amazon reviewer, which means she like gets stuff from Amazon and uses it.
for free.
well for a review. not exactly free, but she reviews it and then she gets to keep it.
She gets it for like less than $1.
It's not any money.
It's
The only money she has to spend is tax.
Well, did you know that Jeff Bezos, the founder of Amazon, also has a space company? But his view on
Rich has a space company.
SpaceX?
It's like everyone rich. has a
Are you
space
talking about
And that's a
SpaceX?
space company.
I know that's Elon Musk's company. Jeff Bezos' company is called Blue Origin, but he has a different view. He's like, the Earth is like the best place in the entire solar system, and
It
he
is.
wants.
But it won't last forever.
But it won't last forever. Yeah, but he wants to take all the things that harm the Earth, like the energy production, the mining, the manufacturing, and move that into space and make Earth like more of a garden, residential area. I was wondering what you thought about that.
Interesting thought.
That would be interesting.
But first you need to get people to stop doing it on Earth and like figure out a way to get it into space.
But one more problem with us going on forever, our entire solar system, the entire Milky Way, in just like about 3 billion years will collide with another galaxy.
Really?
Yeah.
Colliding is kind of between galaxies. I mean, they're like, the stars are very far apart.
Yeah.
So whenever they like merge, it's not like they're
But
actually.
you do forget the star's gravity might interfere with Earth, which means Earth might not be inhabitable in another 3 billion years if Earth still exists in that time anyway.
Of course, we're having trouble imagining what's possible in 500 years. 3 billion years is a lot of time for stuff to happen.
Yeah, I
And-
know. I mean,
The
like,
world could end.
Well, yeah, true.
But and also, whenever we first landed on the moon in 1969, there were 3 billion people on Earth. Now there's close to 7 billion people. That means more than double the number of minds thinking. I hope they're thinking. I wish they'll think. Please think. But they could be thinking, right? Solving things. How to make them think.
I'm on the other side of the world probably I'm thinking because it's night there.
Yeah.
You don't stop thinking in your sleep. It's just
Well, you're
dreaming.
not thinking as hard.
But that
Well,
doesn't mean you're not thinking.
You know, but some of the craziest ideas that have changed life has come from dreams. People just like in the middle of their dreams, they just like, whoa, and then suddenly something new is happening. So
Yeah, but it's not suddenly. It's like my dad phrased it like in science. It's like they don't just be like. It's not like eureka. It's like, hey, that's funny. Like that was what he said, and then like they figure out something, and then stuff happens. All sorts of things.
yeah, sometimes it's when you do an experiment that you know is going to go some way, and it doesn't go that way, that you really discover all the stuff that changes things.
What I'm wondering about is the Kuiper Belt.
Yes, Kuiper Belt. Tell me.
I'm just really interested in it because it seems like just like tons of rocks.
It's not just rocks. It's like debris from our planet.
I'm wondering if we explore space enough, will we discover new elements?
Maybe.
Could are definitely new molecules for sure. But I mean, the Kuiper Belt's kind of interesting, because I mean, you have all these like the rocks and ice out there, and then you have like Jupiter is like so gravitationally strong that sometimes it pulls something in and it becomes a comet around the sun, and some of those things eventually hit the Earth. And anyway,
I'm wondering if there will ever be a mission to scavenge all the metal we have sent into space.
Because, broken down satellites and stuff.
We don't have infinite metal. And this world seems
That
to be one of the only ones that has it in our solar system, at least.
That's not true.
That is not true. There's probably some in asteroids. And that expands the idea of moving mining and stuff into space.
But the one thing I really want to know is what happens when you get to the edge of reality?
the edge of reality. How would you know you got there?
Well, because
we
space
can't
is
say.
expanding, right?
Okay.
What
I mean, I don't know.
happens-
Can you imagine if in your house you stayed in one room and then you tried to make a map of the entire house without ever leaving that room? How accurate could you make your map?
Your room would be accurate.
Your room would be accurate. And so, the Earth, we have really good maps of it. But, if we just like look at the solar system from, or even the universe from a slightly different angle, we might be very surprised by what we see.
Alright, so
And one thing I also want to know is like, we don't know what color galaxies are, because like Hubble, like pictures are taken in black and white, and then a bunch of filters are put over them, and they're shown in color, but we don't know if they're actually that color to human eyes.
I wonder what it would be like to go in the black hole. The only problem is,
You might get torn to pieces.
well, you would of course be spaghettified. But I mean, like, well, there's a problem. Like, you don't want to be spaghettified, and like you can't send signals away from it. I mean, like, it's a black hole. It's so heavy it sucks the light back. Cause like imagine, cause like it's just so heavy that time would be so fast there.
There's this a guy that wrote a book. I haven't read it yet. I just read the summary. I'm really good at reading summaries, but the whole book is another story. But apparently he thinks that like black holes are really like the beginning of other universes. Like, how people talk about like a Big Bang. Maybe that's like the results of a black hole in another universe. And anyway, it's kind of,
Stuff and spit it out somewhere else.
yeah. I mean, there's so much we don't know. You talk about, the limits of our technology, but that's just the limits we could see.
There's no way to test it out, because even if we did get a machine to go through it without getting crushed, something on it would surely get malfunction, and maybe we couldn't even get a signal. And it might just be like a thing that just sucks everything in and crushes it, and like just keeps going in and in like a whirlpool. Like that doesn't lead to much of anywhere.
Well, and forget about black holes. Think about Venus. We've tried to land probes on Venus, but it's like so much pressure. It's so hot, so much acidic atmosphere that those probes have only last seconds, and they've stopped working.
Wasn't there that one that lasted 2 minutes?
Was there one that lasted 2 minutes?
Before we go
World record. Wait. Space record. We lasted 2 minutes on this planet.
Yes.
Before we start going even deeper into space, we need to get a grasp of our own solar system.
Yeah, definitely.
Couldn't you technically go with one that was just cold at night on Venus? Because then it's very cold, not hot.
Well, apparently it rains sulfuric acid, and like it burns through metal, and it's supposed to be like really bad, even in night. So.
But imagine if we found
Wait, an umbrella!
An umbrella, yes.
It not rain.
You'd have to use glass to stop it, or something else.
That would be cool. Figure out how to make a.
You can't use glass; it will melt.
Do you not know what sulfuric? Yeah, it is anyway.
I mean, it will melt on entry and.
I don't know. Maybe you had to have layers. Maybe it's like different layers of material.
Maybe you have like metal on the outside to protect the glass.
Since we actually can't like get a probe down there for more than like 2 minutes, we don't know what's like on the planet's surface, what's in the planet. So another thing is we're trying to go out into the solar system, but we barely know what's under the sea.
Or even what's under the land. I mean, we really haven't dug any holes really deep into the earth and explored like our own core. And
have we even? I don't think anybody has ever dug down to lava.
But the thing is, we have like close to 7 billion people now, which is like double the number we used to have. And we have the internet, and we have, most of the people don't have to grow food for us to eat every day. We have a lot of people that could go explore lots of things, but it seems like most of those people are really stuck exploring their iPhone or, the internet or YouTube, as opposed to exploring nature.
Or just sitting there in a street pretending to be homeless to make money.
Yes. And what do you think could be done to get more of humanity out there exploring these things, exploring the oceans, exploring underneath the earth, exploring Venus and what have you? I mean, how do we?
I think the main problem with exploring is, do you have enough money, and do you think you want to?
But what is money really? I mean, because money is the ability to get people to work, but people could work without money. I mean, if you want to do something, you could do that just because you want to do it, assuming you got like food and what have you.
But if I'm like, hey, everybody, let's go on this spaceship that I designed that might blow up in your face and go to space for a few
No,
months.
not just in your face, in your everywhere. It'll blow up your body.
Do you want to go into a possibly bomb explosive spaceship up into space, spend a few months there,
And I won't pay you anything.
like travel around, and then just come back down and hope for the best, land in the ocean,
and you don't get paid.
barely can stand. And we won't pay you anything. Don't worry. You'll also not be able to get money because you can't do your job in space.
I just wonder if money is sometimes a demotivator, kind of blinds us to like the real adventure and stuff.
Like people just sit on the road and pretend to be homeless to make money. Like that's not what, like they could, like if they have a home, that means they could get a job. They could get like stuff, but they don't. They just sit on the curb and say, I need money without actually saying it.
Yeah.
Or I
But-
want money.
I mean, there's a lot of adventures you could do here on Earth, like sailing around the world, climbing mountains. Those don't take like, building a multi-billion-dollar spacecraft. But
Yeah, but you do have to alchemate to climb on mountains. Like if some people alchemate poorly, which means they can't like climb up that high, or they start like.
But I mean, what do you get from sailing around the world?
the adventure, getting to see the world.
But how do you buy food?
How do you buy food?
You don't really need to, because we've created cruise ships that can like go like. I mean, if someone like that.
But how do you get that food? By buying it. And so you're saying you'll just pack a ship full to last you a few years while you're sailing around the
Oh,
world?
that reminds me of, we recently learned, well, we didn't recently learn, but you know how Columbus, like, they were so lucky North America was here, or they would have died.
That's true. Yeah.
Because he tried to sail around the world, and it does not take 2 months to sail around the world. You only got, like, a measly this much of the way.
Our fastest planes take 10 hours to sail around the world.
And those are planes, and they did not exist back then.
Our fastest boat's probably
You don't
Actually,
know.
around
I
1
don't
hour,
know.
Caleb.
no 10.
It's 10 hours. It takes 2 hours to fly to.
In our
United
fastest
Kingdoms.
plane. In our
It takes, from Houston, it takes, I think, like 9 hours to fly to London.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it would take 10 hours to fly around the world, even in the fastest planes.
It would take
Hmm.
more.
Yes, Caleb.
So, what are you all doing differently during the COVID-19 quarantine than y'all were doing before?
actually doing like more hikes and
Yes,
stuff.
many more hikes. Oh, and we're sometimes sitting on our butts at home.
Much more hikes.
What do you see on your hikes?
We see plants, we see mud, we see trees.
We see cool rock formations sometimes.
We see trees.
I already said trees.
No, you definitely didn't say trees.
You forgot to mention trees.
Do you all play any new board games or anything?
Yeah.
Well, our dad has like this humongous cupboard of
It's
games.
a wardrobe.
A wardrobe of games. I know we haven't even played all of them. Well, he probably has, but we haven't. It is a bit, and we still have more. Literally, he has to put games on top of the wardrobe.
So, which one of them is your favorite?
I
We
don't
don't
even
have
know.
a very favorite, but one of the games we played recently is this car game. Like it has a racetrack and
No.
you race around and have special powers. And
That
like
sounds interesting.
loops and curves and tight turns, and you have to, and you like need to play cards to get your car around to somebody else's car and stuff.
I'm wondering, why do you want to interview one person in every day
Until the end of 2024?
Yeah.
Well, several things. One is I work from home, and I actually thought of this project as an anti-social distancing project because it's very easy to just,
Distancing.
well, but because I used to require that I had to do the interviews in person. So I used to interview people at Starbucks, or people at the mall, or people at the airport, or people on the street. So
Sometimes you're too far away to go, and you'd be interviewing people on the plane.
well, I mean, just as part of like my normal travels, sometimes I have to travel for work.
Look,
So.
Then you don't always work from home.
That's
social-
true. I don't always work from home, but I mainly work from home. And I interviewed yeah.
What is your name?
Oh, my name's Nathan. I'm actually, your mom is my cousin.
Yeah, we know.
Okay.
She told us. She's just like, hey,
My cousin wants to
cousin-
do an interview with you.
Yeah. But it's good from this perspective. Like, this is making me reach out to people that I should have reached out to regularly. But, I'm like, I talk to people that I went to high school with like 20 years ago that I probably, we probably don't have that much to say, but this kind of gives a reason to talk. So it's good from that perspective.
My mom was like, there's this. My cousin is just interviewing one person till the end of 2024, and I volunteered you without asking you. Now go.
Of course, she is our mother, so I mean, she does have some say
She
in the
did that
matter.
about 10 minutes before we started.
And most of the people I interview, they get like 30-second notice. So that's actually more notice than most people get, because I just
Notice.
I go up to a person at Starbucks and like, hey, I'm working on this project. Can I talk to you about this and record it? And so I got some.
It's not really a notice. That's more of a we're doing this now. That's not.
That's
notice.
more of like.
And sometimes they go, no, we're not. But anyway, whatever. It's been kind of neat. I don't know. It's been kind of neat. I've really liked it. So, some people think that we shouldn't go to the moon because we might mess up the moon, just like we've messed up the Earth. What do you think about that?
Well, yeah. Look around. It's almost impossible to find a single place on Earth that hasn't been touched by a human, except for like deep seas and stuff, like on the surface of the Earth. I mean, like,
He has a point, but still, there's not.
street lights have
There's not.
polluted the air.
There's not much ecosystem on the moon. Nothing lives there. I mean, if the Earth had been our moon, I think we would. I think the Earth would have been much better off.
If the Earth had been our moon,
Yeah.
then the moon would be our Earth.
Yeah.
Then we would be dead.
It's
Our planet was bigger than the Earth. In much case.
Another thing is the dark side of the moon is not always dark.
Yes, that's right. The right turn is the far side of the moon. But that's a good point. And some people say, we shouldn't be going into space until we solve all the problems here on Earth, like hunger. Say again?
You did mention that guy who said to get rid of all the problems we have to move them into space.
Yeah, Jeff Bezos. So, I mean, there's obviously some different thoughts on that. I've also talked to some people that thinks this would be the first time we're going to the moon.
There are a few photos of the moon landing that are fake, and then there are a bunch of real ones. So some people think that it's actually like we've never been out of
Well,
our Earth
it's
before.
believable. Some people think the Earth is flat.
Well, and that's another thing. I've wondered, do they really think that, or are they just saying that to get attention?
Good point.
I mean,
The Earth is flat like a pancake, and you can sail off and then, like, it's like
I mean, how they explain
go?
the flight times, like from, you know, San Francisco to like Australia to India to Africa to Europe. You know, at some point the time should be inexplicably large because you have to go all the way around the other way.
So if we just keep going west forever, we're gonna eventually fall off the edge, even though it's impossible.
I mean, there should be photographic proof of like airplanes just off the edge. It seems like I don't see how anybody could think the Earth is flat. And
Guys, I have a wonderful idea. Since the Earth is definitely flat, we sail to the edge of it.
Did you know
Make
that?
camp and wait for the perfect time, then sail off it onto the moon.
Did you know that people did like way back in history didn't actually know if the Earth was flat? Like they didn't know for sure. Like they might not. According to like history like and stuff, they might not even have known like to think it was flat because they didn't travel that much. Like some people thought there would be like a great like chasm that you would fall into,
I mean,
or that like
There's fog at the edge.
I mean, the
or like
Earth,
there wasn't an edge. Daniel.
the Earth definitely does look flat, except for like the hills. But you could probably, an uneducated person could probably say the Earth was flat. Because it doesn't look like it is round in any way, shape, or form or from a certain angle.
but
Yeah.
the thing though is this: is sometimes the Earth casts a shadow on the moon, and that shadow is definitely, you can see it as curved. Another thing is, you know, sailboats or boats, whenever they're like sailing away, like the bottom part disappears before the top part. So there's like some observable evidence of the roundness of the Earth that would have been available.
Yeah,
to
but
them.
we do need to make sure we don't blow up the moon, or all tides and water stuff will go crazy.
Yes, we should avoid blowing up the moon. I agree.
Yes, definitely avoid blowing up
So
the
we
moon.
launch and you get the moon and implode it instead of blow it up.
A nuke would not destroy the entire moon. Though we
But
do,
it would mess up
the tides.
a lot.
though we do have enough military to blow up the Earth. I think it goes around 5 times over.
Oh my gosh. I know we should spend our energy and resources in a more positive direction, probably.
Kind of what would happen? Imagine just people. It's like we need to get rid of all this and launch it into space. Highly powerful weapons. We will throw you at the moon.
Isn't that when
Well,
we were doing some?
You could imagine if there was like a huge asteroid on its way to hit the Earth, you might have something exactly like that happen.
It's like, oh no, blow up the asteroid. We can blow up the Earth.
Yeah, I mean, like we could do that. I mean, like honestly, we have the materials and stuff to like blow that asteroid up.
I wonder what would happen if we were on this planet and another planet collided into it. That just sounds. I'm like, what would happen?
They
then?
would smash together and blow up.
But I mean, what would it look like? Just a planet flying
There
up the sky.
there are literally graphs like digital like in CAD it's like a scientific like they bam into each other and they break apart and they blow up.
Oh,
No.
like a car?
Yeah.
Like shredding into pieces? Cool, let's do it. But then
I wonder what would happen if it hit like the other side of the Earth. What would happen then?
They're round. What do you mean the other side
The
of the
Earth is the same. The moon is round. You mean if something was in the middle of the Earth and blew up from the outside? No, that's the only other side of the Earth there is. No, I mean it's a round sphere.
I'm talking about if something hit us, like if we're here.
If something hit here,
It would blow up the whole Earth.
Like this is Earth, something hit here.
If
What
it's
would it be
if
like on this side of
if
the
it's the
planet?
size of Earth, it will blow up.
Yes, but
What I mean,
no, it would blow up. That's what would happen. Like space because they're colliding into each other with immense force. And why do I all space fantasy? Why do I all noise? Why do I all shh? gently, yeah, but it hit Earth.
It hit through its atmosphere.
And I know, but
We're the ones who's interrupting me.
but the air will be jostled around already. Are you sure what something or no? Or
Well,
Yeah, I think you're confusing yourself and thinking the Earth is flat.
no.
I know it's really weird. Y'all got really soft, but well, did y'all have any other comments or things y'all wanted to say?
He's annoying.
He's he'll grow out of it. You'll miss it someday. Maybe. Well, anyway, thank you all so much for your time.
Question.
Oh, go ahead.
What's your last name?
Price.
Do you have any siblings?
I can't quite hear you. Can you talk louder?
Siblings.
Yes, are you?
I can hear him better. I can't hear you at all.
Do you have any siblings?
Yes, I have 2 siblings. I have 2 half sisters. One's Maggie Hall, and the other one is Krista Price. So
No, it wouldn't. He couldn't be.
I don't know. It's like really weird. It's like sometimes I can hear y'all perfectly, and the other times it's like complete silence, and then sometimes it's like screaming. But anyway,
This is why we hate Zoom.
Oh, and this is also why microphones are just playing pranks on us. They're like loud, quiet, no hear, loud, normal noise, loud, quiet, quiet, no hearing.
okay. Bye. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye. Talk to y'all later.